On the line with me now is the beautiful singer Monica, host of VH1's new show Infamy, When Fame Turns Deadly. How you doing, Monica? Great to meet you.
Doing very good. Nice to meet you as well.
I love that. Doing very good. Well, you're going to be hosting the new VH1 series. How did this opportunity come about for you in the first place?
You know what? It was really organic, which sometimes some of the best situations are organic like such. Of course, my relationship with VH1 began because of music. We've had a long-standing relationship, and then the reality show was there, and we've just built some really great rapport with VH1. But my love for true crime series was something that, as people get to know me, kind of stands out. I am definitely a fan of the First 48 Snapped ID channel. That is me day in, day out. So once they knew, they told me about Infamy. And being a part of it really was a dream come true because it does take me outside of my element. It challenges me in a completely different way. But I'll tell you what I love most about Infamy, especially being a real fan of crime true series. I love that it highlights the victims.
Yeah.
It gives you a chance to get to know them, not just the tragedy, not just the incident, but it gives you the opportunity to know more about them. We dig into who they are, who their families want you to know that they are or were. And it also allows us to talk to the families. We talk to the mothers of, the fathers of, the sisters and brothers. To me, that's a completely different perspective that allows you to view this show. You'll be watching Infamy with your heart, not just your mind, because it's very easy to hear these tragedies and hear about these different stories, but there's nothing that connects you to it past the time that you see it on the news. So our goal with Infamy was to really connect you to who these people were, their gifts and their talents, those that are still mourning the losses of them. It is a really deep show.
I mean, it seems it, and you're so right. I mean, I think everyone knows the names of famous serial killers or something, but they never know the names of the victims, and that's really the most unfortunate thing. I mean, I know you said it was a very organic thing. Obviously, you have a beautiful relationship with VH1, but I have to know, did you sort of jump at the opportunity sort of immediately, or did it take you some time to warm up to the idea? Were they not as victim heavy as you wanted it to be? What was the process kind of like for you?
I jumped at the idea immediately because when the producer called me, they let me know right off the bat that, listen, we want your input. We want to know how you feel. We want you to be able to share in the creation of it all, you know, and that in itself made it very easy for me to say yes.
How I know you're a true crime fan. You listed off some of my favorite shows of all time. How different was it for you? I know you want the audience to sort of connect maybe from the victim's perspective. How different was it for you, though, to be in the true crime space versus being a viewer or a fan of the genre?
Well, some of my unfortunate life experiences made it very easy for me to connect. If you've ever experienced loss, it's something you don't forget. It never goes away. You learn to cope, you learn to deal. And those personal experiences allowed me to speak on these people and their legacies in a respectful manner. This wasn't just a job to me. I acknowledged that there are 8 episodes, so every single individual I wanted to know more about. I wanted to know more about their families. I wanted to understand what took place, not just in their deaths, but in their lives. So my personal experiences made me feel different. My uncle was killed last year. He was run over after having a flat tire. And when you experience something like that, it puts you right back in the position of every single one of these families as we go through these 8 episodes. I know what we wanted. I know what we felt was fair and what wasn't fair. And so those were the things that made it easy for me to speak to how a lot of them felt.
And I'm curious from your standpoint, I mean, do you think that this series will open up fans' eyes to some of the stressors and maybe even complications that celebrities often face, but also get kind of overlooked at the same time?
I hope so. I think more than anything, they don't forget as easily. You know, when you look at cases like Lorenzen Wright, it rocked the whole NBA community and all of the people of Memphis that had so much adoration for him. However, you don't hear his name on a regular basis. I'm praying that when people see the show, what happened, the real travesty of it all, it is talked about. And a lot of the people that are in high places and positions of fame and notoriety are attentive to the fact that they can be targets, sometimes by those close to them, sometimes by those we don't even know. So it does shed light on a lot of different things.
I actually watched the Lorenzen Wright episode and I almost forgot that he had 6 children. And that's also such a tragedy in this whole thing too, is about sort of the generations that are affected by this. I have to know, what are some of the other cases sort of explored this season? What can viewers expect?
Oh, there's lots of different. What I love is that Infamy was very attentive to making sure they were from different walks of life. You have Young Greatness. He spent a lot of time here in Atlanta, and a lot of the people that he was close to, I'm close to. So watching them, mourning him and losing him was really difficult. So to cover him and him being from New Orleans, there were a lot of different people that we both knew, although we didn't know each other. So, you know, things like that hit you in a really heartbreaking manner when you're trying to do what's considered a job. It became far more than a job to me instantaneously, but there were a lot of times I had to take a step back and take a deep breath and recognize what my purpose in the midst of it was. And the same thing with like Sean Trey. He was affectionately called Puff, but he was a DJ. He's from Chicago. Didn't know him, but I felt like I did once we studied and worked on making his episode one that was a good reflection of everything that transpired with him. So you become very connected.
Are all the cases that you cover in the episodes solved, or are there cold cases as well that, you know, you kind of call out to viewers to maybe help solve these cases kind of with you?
Well, most are solved. You know, some have unfinished business, whether it's trials that maybe have not taken place. So we're not calling out to the public per se. We're giving the public a full spectrum of all of the details of what happened. And we tell you exactly where things stand with every single case. We tell you exactly what's happening, like real time.